What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the TradeMarke Podcast. Got a really exciting episode for you guys today. We've got Titan Advising Gurus on with us. And in the spirit of St. Patty's Day, I would like to know, Jess, starting with you, would you rather find a pot of gold or find a four-leaf clover that really did bring good luck?
Probably the four-leaf clover. And then I would go buy some lottery tickets.
You'd manifest money.
Yes.
Kim, how about you?
Oh, I would do the same thing. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, everyone wants money, but everyone could probably need some luck on their side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what would you do with a pot of gold? Like, you'd have to carry it, and then how much is the pot of gold, and
And also,
what's in
what's the rate? What's the rate of gold at the time? Is it up? Is it down?
Yeah, but then you could do the Scrooge McDuck and just kind of lay in it and swim in it a little bit.
You know what?
Unless it's gold bars. Although if we're talking St. Patty's Day, it's the gold coins, right?
Yeah,
So
that'd be
yeah,
Right. This is how we overthink things. Okay, Eric, let's get started.
Well, yeah. We're super excited. We're going to be chatting about a lot of things around ServiceTitan and how to make the most out of the product. So let's go ahead and dive in.
Step into the TradeMarke, your go-to podcast for everything marketing in the trades. Hosted by award-winning industry marketing experts Sarah Ghirardo from Remarkable and Eric Thomas from Rival Digital. Together, we're here to unite the worlds of trades and marketing, bringing you insights, stories, and strategies from the heart of the industry. Whether you're a trade professional, a marketing expert, or somewhere in between, this is the place for you. Listen in as we're here for the big ideas, the game changers, and the everyday successes. Because at the TradeMarke, we're with the trades and for the trades.
Hello.
Hello. Well, we are super excited to have Jess and Kim with us today. They are ServiceTitan gurus, which is really guru is an interesting word. But so Jess and Kim, kind of introduce yourself to the audience and let them know what you really do and how you help with ServiceTitan on the behind the scenes.
Kim, me, you
first.
Okay. So I'm Jess, and I just help anybody with anything ServiceTitan related. That's what our entire company does. Specifically, I help more on the marketing side, the marketing side of things, and get people set up with their account from the get-go or optimizing it as they go.
Yeah. And my name is Kim Rahn. I am Jess's counterpart. Technically, I guess I'm the COO of the Titan Advising Guru company, but wear a lot of hats as we all do when, you work in and around the trades. So I do not touch marketing and marketing pro. My specialties are accounting, which is normally a very scary word for a lot of people. So I help make sure that things are set up correctly there. And then a lot of times I help with memberships, price book, pro products when it comes to scheduling pro. Really anything that isn't marketing is what I can help you with.
I love it. And so what are the biggest opportunities that you see from a contractor perspective when it comes to getting on ServiceTitan? Let's start there. Because the fear starts getting on ServiceTitan and then having to implement and get on ServiceTitan. What do you see as the biggest blockers for them?
On the marketing pro side, it's just setting it up. The time that goes into setting it up, making it look the way that they want to. The audiences are intimidating. And there's so many other things going on in the background that in a contractor's eyes are more important. And most of them are, because it is firefighting most of the time. But they just don't have the time or the energy to put in to their marketing pro. So when we go into accounts, a lot of the time it's just not set up. So that's the biggest opportunity that I see on my end of things. Just getting that.
And Kim, you deal with accounting. Wow.
Yes. It's so much fun. But so, talking about accounting, I feel like a roadblock for a lot of people is the price, the cost of ServiceTitan, right? So it's something that people see the benefit in ServiceTitan, but it is expensive. So if they aren't using ServiceTitan to the full extent, if they don't have, if they're paying for something like Marketing Pro and they don't have it set up correctly, they're saying it doesn't work. It's the same with the rest of the platform. So many times I talk to people and hear, oh, my numbers aren't right. I'm not getting I just can tell my reports are wrong. And it's because you're halfway set up, right? So you've done enough to be using the product, but you're not optimizing and using it to its full extent.
Yeah, most definitely. I think people don't really understand that it's a tool. It's for automation and efficiency, but you have to use the tool that's provided to you, and the tool rewards you through the Titan Advisor score by telling you what to do. Like, hey, optimize your memberships, add memberships, right? We're wanting to advance them to the next level. And so I love the it's very expensive, conversation. We have the same conversation in the trades, right, Eric? Like when we're going into someone's home and they're like, oh, that's just too expensive. It's just meaning that they don't see the value, or they're putting an excuse to the value instead of adding it to their prices, which they should be raising their prices every single year, right?
Absolutely.
So we really have to get over that word of it's too expensive. You're the one that's, having those objections in your home when you go out on a sales call. So why bring them into your workplace, right?
I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
I was watching the dog in the background jumping to get on the chair, and I'm happy to report that the dog is comfy and cozy.
I think he is.
Hey, bud.
That's Samson.
Samson's hanging out with us today.
Yes,
So when it comes to, you guys were mentioning like just, getting it set up and using it, what's the most common things that you all are seeing both on the accounting and the marketing side that are either when when you're talking to a contractor, either aren't set up or are often set up improperly?
Kim, you go first this time.
Sure. So memberships is usually something I would say 95% of the accounts that I've gone into are set up incorrectly in one way or another. Either they're not billing because they don't have billing rules set up, or they have their recurring services populating on one side, not at all, or they have them populating every month where it should be happening once a year. And or they might have a deferred revenue recognition turned on, but they don't have their correct ledger accounts attached like they're supposed to on the line items that are populating. So I would say 95% of accounts that I go into, something is wrong with their memberships. And then the fun part with that is when you fix them, everything, that has been sold doesn't get updated. So normally there's some data cleanup that comes along with that as well.
That makes sense. Yeah. Memberships are the hardest thing to set up. I don't even touch them. I'm like Jess. I'm like, marketing. This is what I do.
There's enough though. There's enough in the marketing to keep you busy.
Yeah. And if the memberships aren't set up correctly, then you have just funky audiences that are pulling into marketing, and you're just like, oh no, I'm emailing people completely wrong.
And then even if they are set up correctly, if people don't know how to manage them well, just because they're set up correctly doesn't mean that, we're going to be booking the recurring services in the times that we're supposed to. And, if you're booking someone at the very end of the season and then trying to book someone to get that same person at the beginning of the season, what good is that doing, right? So making sure that workflow and that SOP is given to everyone that's touching that part of your business.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, that's such a good statement, because you need someone in your office to help you manage memberships, even after it's set up, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's a whole big thing. And then to really look at the attrition and churn and memberships as you grow, because that's really important to forecast your recurring revenue.
Yeah. To know how many technicians you need, right?
Yeah.
How many members, how much maintenance do you have? And then how much service do you need in order to hit your bottom line?
Yeah, that makes sense. And so Jess, with Marketing Pro, because I love talking about Marketing Pro, I think time, you're right. Time is the biggest issue that people have, but I also think that they don't realize that there's a lot of different channels inside of there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so which ones are the ones that people have the hardest time setting up, and what would you give them as a recommendation of how to get started?
The hardest, I normally don't see a lot of people utilizing postcards. And that's coming from setting it up outside of ServiceTitan and then importing it in and making sure that it's working the way that it should. So I do not see a lot of those, which postcards work really well. Nobody's really doing them anymore. So because of that, people are seeing them, and it's giving really good ROI from what I've seen in our different accounts. But setting up the SMS, that one is key for the unsold estimates, especially. That one has the best return that I've seen in a lot of the accounts that I go into, either have it half set up or not set up at all, because building that audience scares people away from it. So just getting those set up, you can immediately see, the money flowing in because of that. And if you have it set it up properly, you're going to pay off your marketing pro every single month over and over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's funny. They're all like, it's such an expense. And I'm like, again, it's the same thing over and over. And I'm like, it's part of the journey. Like, you're going to be fine. Just, and then they attribute all the cost to email. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. It's a layered thing.
Yes, you have to layer them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think too, like when I hear contractors all the time saying, with like Marketing Pro in particular, they're like, oh, it's just glorified email marketing. And I'm
It's
like,
not.
you're not seeing it at its full potential. Or you're not even using it at its full potential. It's like, that's just one of the tangible things that like they feel like they can get out of it, but it's not true.
Well, it's because the email's the easiest to set up. So that's what everybody does too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I see so often too, like in the Marketing Pro side with like, when we're talking about data cleanup, some of those phone numbers, like I remember at one of I think it was a Toolbox Live that I was at, there was like a whole session on like cleaning up data.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking through, even this morning, I was looking through Marketing Pro for one of our clients. And when I was looking through the phone numbers, we were trying to find they have 4 different numbers for their PPC campaigns. And I was just trying to find them. And it was just like clicking through, of course, there's an easier way to find it, I'm sure, but I was sitting there clicking through like page 10, page 11, page 12. It got to like 20 something pages of phone numbers. And I was like, bro, we have got to do something about this. Like, you do not need bring 2018 yard signs still in here.
No, you don't. Throw a date on that campaign and then just reuse that number. And use the filter feature so you can find that number faster in the future.
So when it comes to the data cleanup, like what are some best practices that you all, recommend to your clients when it comes to cleaning up, campaign data, phone numbers, any of that stuff?
When it comes to the phone numbers and campaigns, anything that hasn't been used in the last 6 months, I normally, filter out, reuse, repurpose, whatever we can do. So that way we have as minimal of the campaigns as possible. So that way it's easier for your CSRs to kind of go through and find the correct campaign. And also getting rid of existing customer or membership person or those buckets that everything falls into, kind of getting rid of those at the same time, which is always a fight, but cleaning that up at the same time is always very necessary, regardless of the fight that comes with it.
And what's the fight? So tell us about that, because we have a bunch of different contractors listening. So what's the fight of it?
That they have our number and that's how they get a hold of us. Well, how did they find your number? Did they find it online? Did they find it on Yelp? Where did they find you? Even though they're existing, they looked your number up somehow, unless they had it saved. How did they find you? Because that's clearly what's working if they were able to find you. And you need to know that. You need to be able to identify that so that way you know what's working, what's not, where to put your money, and where to pull it back. And you can't figure that out if you have 300 booked jobs in existing customer. You just can't. It has to go somewhere. And the only way that you can kind of break the office of that habit is just get rid of it. Get rid of those buckets.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's a huge bucket of wasted spend.
Yeah.
And I love hearing like passionate marketers about this, because that makes me happy. I've been on this kick for, 5 years now. Like, please get rid of this. So,
and it's just so easy from answering the phones just to drop it in there. You got to make the CSR work for that information a little bit almost.
Yeah. Or when they selected the A campaign.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm like, I know that Angie's list didn't perform this well. Like, you know, so yeah, it's data cleanup is really important. Organizing your data is really important. Reusing and recycling phone numbers, incredibly important. It used to be that you wanted to have a phone number for every single campaign, which is fine. You can do that, but you also have the ability to recycle phone numbers now, which we didn't have a long time ago. So now, you know, you can work smarter and your data can just look so much better. So I agree. Like you need that, but you also need to like score people on their data capture. It's so important because the data doesn't start with marketing, right? It starts with the call.
Yeah.
And if customer service representative isn't getting scored on what they're capturing, then they often don't capture what the marketer needs. And I don't think, you know, people really understand that. I was looking at a client today and sometimes they have just the miss of an email capture, but that email capture can give you millions and millions of dollars in revenue if you do this right. So, yeah.
100%.
And then Kim, what do you see? Because your data is wild.
I mean, you can see things get out of hand easily in so many different areas of ServiceTitan. I mean, I have had clients where I've gone into their price book and they've had 25,000 service tasks. How a technician can possibly navigate and be using the correct service task on an invoice when there's 25,000 to choose from.
Yeah.
It's just, they can't. They're using whatever they find first, right?
Yeah.
That kind of fits. So, and especially, I mean, ServiceTitan is constantly releasing new things. So the fact that they've released the configurable materials within the last year or so, I mean, you can take a price book, you know, we'll just use, you know, even numbers here. Let's say there's 1,000 items in there that could potentially be condensed down to 500 or 600 using configurable materials. So, I mean, that's a huge data cleanup option. And then, you know, so, you know, people that have custom reporting in their accounts, which not everyone does, but those that do, I usually don't even see the custom location, or I'm sorry, the duplicate location and the duplicate customer reports even populated in their system. They're there. They're in. If you go to custom reports and you click all for your templates, there's a duplicate location and a duplicate customer one. So people have never even looked at what duplicates on those levels exist in their system, which again ties right into marketing, right? Because if you have all of this bad CRM data, how is that going to help you with, you know, who you actually want to reach out to? You might have the same customer with with multiple locations and 5 different records, and you don't actually have their full job history, right, in one place. So that's not helping the technician. That's not helping on the marketing side. So being able to clean that up are just 2 of the really big
difference.
Yeah. And that's a huge, God, I ran a call center for an alcohol company, and we were like down in the basement is where they put us. And I remember spending the first almost 2 months cleaning up duplicate accounts. And it's so important because you're right, the data won't line up, right? But I don't think people even start there. Like, you should start when you enter your data into ServiceTitan to remove the duplicate accounts and clean that up first. Like, that would be my first easy cleanup of like my customer list. And then as I go on, just like my email list, I have to clean it, right? There's hygiene behind your data. So that's a really, really great point that you just made. And I think we should make a blog about that.
Like I said, like I have yet actually, and I do on average, I'm doing 3 or 4 account audits on a week. I can say if this is the first time I'm going into account, I have not had one that has had both of those reports active. Maybe one, but not both.
Interesting.
Data hygiene. I think that's like the title.
I was going to say, that's a good header.
Data hygiene.
And they're going to be like,
right?
Why?
Like everyone takes care of their personal hygiene. Hopefully, if you're listening out there, please put on deodorant. Everyone's
or tell your teenager to put on deodorant.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, you know, take care of your personal hygiene, but the data, you'll have duplicate information and kinds of stuff sitting in there for 3 years.
And that's everywhere in the account. I mean, I see duplicate ledgers all the time with accounting. Not that that's anywhere near as important, but it's just annoying, right? If you're adding a new service into your price book, you now have to scroll through 50 of the same ledger to try to find the right one. Why? It's just taking time. So,
and I wonder how to automate this. Anyways, I'll think about that later.
But yeah, it's like that's what I hear so much when folks are like, oh, there was this huge undertaking to get this all cleaned up. And it's like, that's because you'd never made it a priority. In the first place, yeah, it was not a priority to keep their data clean and keep everything organized. And then everything came to a blow and it was like, crap, now I'm going to spend 2 weeks getting this all straightened up.
Firefighting it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that it's worth it. I can tell you that it's worth it. I can tell you, even just as a marketer, it's worth it. Clean up your stuff, make sure that you go in with the mindset of, hey, this is a tool. It's supposed to do what it's supposed to do. I just have to put in the work to use this tool. Yeah.
And in the long run, it's going to save you time as a marketer. And then that time can be spent doing more marketing, getting more results.
Yeah. It helps you be more strategic, and not just in your marketing, but in your business. And I think that's the really important piece. Every software, no matter what you're using, it's supposed to be there to help you, but it's not going to do it for you, right? You're still going to have to push some buttons. You're going to have to say yes or no. And that's just with any software. It's just, there's a learning curve and you got to put in the time or you got to delegate people to manage. I think that's the biggest part is I see owners that are like, well, I want to learn this. And I'm like, you can, but who's going to run the business?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I also see owners on the other side that don't even know what their login is. So
this is true.
So that's a problem too. As an owner, you don't need to know how to do everything in the software. Each individual role in your company, but you do need to know how to read your KPIs, your dashboards, your reports, or have someone be able to get you that information if you can't get into the software itself.
You should be able to get into the software.
Yeah, you should be able to get into the software, and you should know your KPIs of your business operations.
Yeah,
so you should. I will tell you.
Yeah, I agree. Logins are important. Jess or Kim, is there anything we haven't asked yet? Because I know time's flying. Is there anything we haven't asked yet or hit on so far that you were hoping to chat about, like something that you're super, super passionate about when it comes to ServiceTitan?
Onboarding. Once somebody's onboarding with ServiceTitan, that is such a critical time for them to make sure that we're talking about cleaning and starting everything off right. It all starts with their onboarding and making sure everything is set up properly. So that is something that we really focus on.
That's good. Kim?
Well, I was just going to kind of go back to that data cleanup and my accounting background. If you can't ignore it. You can't ignore numbers. Tax season happens every year. You have to know how good your business is doing or not doing. Having your documents, your invoices, and your payments just sitting there is not helping anyone, especially because a lot of our reports in ServiceTitan don't actually work unless you've reviewed and posted your invoices and your payments. So just ignoring that part of it is not doing anyone any favors. Your bookkeeper, your accountant, it's not doing them any favors. So that's something that I am pretty passionate about. And I guess taxes for businesses are due tomorrow. So hopefully, at least hopefully we've started or filed your extension like we did. But yeah, so it's not going to go anywhere. Learn how to get information into your accounting software. There is automation tools like touchless accounting that you can use if you don't have the time or, the know-how to be able to do your document-based exporting. But don't let it pile up because those numbers that you say are wrong probably aren't. It probably sits in the fact that you haven't actually moved information into the status it needs to be moved into.
Such good information. That was so much good information, Kim. Like, wow. I'd be like, I feel like she's talking to me. I feel this energy right now as an owner. Yeah.
Anytime someone talks about accounting or taxes, I just feel extremely convicted. I'm just like, it's me.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why Jess has a partner like me who does the budget.
I glaze over or black out. Either one. No.
Yeah,
not
I know that it's a very scary topic for a lot of people, but it doesn't. It's you can't forget about it. It's kind of like, if you get your bills in the mail and you don't open them, they don't go away. So it's the same thing here.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of bills, I got that scam that was going around, like they were texting people saying that you had a toll due.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I kept getting those, and I also got like a letter in the mail about a toll, and I was like,
Was it
oh my
from-
gosh, like these scammers are getting it even into post, like they're sending out mail too. So I ignored it, but it was a real toll. And then I got another one like 2 days ago. My wife was like, yeah, it's like $96 now. And I was like, oh my gosh, I thought that was a scam. I thought I was missing.
Understandably why you thought it was a scam, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. You still have to pay it though.
Yeah.
I know. I keep getting one from Enterprise from Florida, and I'm like, you have my credit card on file.
Yeah.
Bill me. Like,
Yeah.
stop making me work. Like, Yeah.
Money.
yeah,
No.
just run it. Okay, well, we really appreciate you guys having the time to just come on and speak to us about, the opportunities. I think this podcast has a lot of golden nuggets in it. And if you listen closely and listen with the intent of, hey, I might be getting on a software, I might be using the software, there might be opportunities within the software that I could use. Like, listen with an open mind and an open hand, right? Like, you're not going to be able to change like your immediate, if something is broken, it might not be fixable in a day. And that's okay. It's okay that these problems exist. It's okay that these opportunities are here for us to fix. And that's why, we have people like Jess and Kim to help us. We don't have to do it alone. You're never alone. And there are tons of great people out there to help with ServiceTitan and their products and to get you back on track. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I appreciate y'all hopping on here today. For our listeners out there, how can they find y'all online and learn more about the services that you offer?
And they can go to our website, which is titanadvisinggurus.com, or they can give us a call, and our number is 314-916-3366.
Awesome. Well, Jess and Kim, thank you all so much for joining us today on the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Yep.
Thanks.
And that wraps up another episode of The Trademark, where we bridge the worlds of the trades and marketing, one story at a time. We can't wait to see you next time. Thank you to the trades for giving back big, loving big, and taking massive action. Don't forget to join us next time for more engaging conversations and innovative ideas. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review and share it with your colleagues and friends in the trades and marketing. Your support means the world to us. Stay connected with us off the air by following us on social media. We'd love to hear your thoughts and get your feedback. Until next time, keep making your mark in the trades. Thank you for listening to The Trademark. Goodbye for now, and remember, we're with the trades for the trades.